Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, where the topic is using OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management to implement safe LPM. My name is Doug Welsby, and I'm also joined by my colleague, Jose Levy. During today's webinar, attendees will be on mute and the line will not be open for questions. However, feel free to use the GoToWebinar question feature to submit questions. I will address these questions during the webinar, and we'll respond via email if we do not get to your specific question. If for some reason you get distracted or pulled away from the webinar, no need to worry, as I'll be emailing a link to the presentation once it's been posted to our YouTube channel. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jose.
Thank you, Doug, and thanks everyone for joining for today's webinar on Agile Portfolio Management with OnePlan for Safe LPM. We are very proud to showcase OnePlan for Agile Portfolio Management. We recently presented, or we're part of as a vendor at the Safe Summit. OnePlan is a safe partner, solution partner with our OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management solution. A lot of great takeaways from the summit, and if you're interested in our own takeaways, make contact. We're more than happy to share, some of those insights from what we got from the Safe Summit. We were highlighting at the Safe Summit our Agile Portfolio Management solution, which is really a new configuration and new features that have been added to OnePlan specifically for Safe LPM. So today we're going to be talking about what those are and going deep into how the solution has evolved. We've shown OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management previously, but we have some updates that make it even more interesting as a platform for Safe LPM. So we usually start with this diagram just to highlight the journey that an organization will take in Agile transformation. From the very right, where you have traditional methods of more waterfall type project management, to the very right, which is Agile Portfolio Management. In the middle, you have adaptive. Today is really about the middle to the left, where you might be in adaptive and you're seeking aspirationally to move towards an Agile Portfolio Management approach, and there you will primarily use Agile planning tools, and you will convert to more of an Agile Portfolio Management using the framework and taxonomy specific for Agile Portfolio Management. So that means that you're going to have strategic themes, you're going to be building portfolio canvases, you're going to be managing an LPM, Lean Portfolio Management Kanban, and you're going to be defining PIs and doing PI planning. So that's really where the focus is of this webinar. We have other ones for adaptive portfolio management, so be on the lookout at our webinars because they address how you can combine both. So why even think about this? And I thought, what is the most compelling way to explain how going agile and is important? So here we have just a very simple analysis of digital media, and you have the market leaders or pure digital media plays highlighted by Netflix, which is the benchmark. You have Roku that is also there, and below you have sort of the legacy digital media companies. So we have Disney, Comcast, Viacom, Fox, and Dish. And really the purpose of this, I know we could spend a lot of time arguing about the fit as comparables and what makes up Disney versus Netflix, but it's a very simple point. The market rewards digital transformation. So you can see here that Netflix has a pure play company that was since its inception purpose built as a digital company, running on AWS, all their content and their app for their customers, as PS ratio, which is price to sales, on forward sales of 9 times right now, versus what Disney is at 3.23. Now you can argue, well, Disney has 47% of the revenues of parks, and we're currently in a global pandemic. That's beside the point. We have a difference in a price to sales ratio of 5.8 times. So from a digital media market premium, that's what it means to actually drive business agility and use enterprise agile to accelerate your growth. On the bottom left, we can see that what the market's doing. It's actually rewarding revenue growth on a quarterly basis for Netflix. So on very simple terms, and I guess again, I don't want to get too much into the arguments on the comparable. If for every dollar that Disney aspires to be digital, they could be creating, it would be at a higher price to sales multiple, number one, and Disney has an opportunity to create $490 billion if they went more digital. So how does this relate to you? Well, what is your digital market premium benchmark? And what do you need to aspire to accelerate your digital transformation and get more value to your customers through digital? So just something to think about, because it makes the reason for transformation a lot more compelling. So OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management supports that. And we're really going to talk about 3 different levels, which in themselves can be specific domains that you could be working on for some time. I think the beauty of OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management, we're trying to make it simple, and we're trying to establish those connections between those 3 domains. So the first one is the definition of objectives and key results to measure business outcomes. There, as technology has improved, as the knowledge has been perpetuated, have been spread on what OKRs are, as it becomes more of a common knowledge base, it's being applied in organizations. And really the second part of that, the key result and the business outcome, it's where it's at. So what we want to do with OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management is support that in a very easy way, to see if we can establish relationships between the business outcomes at every level up to the OKR, the key result business outcome. The second is more of a focus on strategic investments using lean portfolio management. So it is a different approach at thinking about how you're going to invest by focusing more on epics, and your portfolios are really your value streams. That's in itself is an interesting domain, because we need to get to operational value streams that support the development value streams that are within lean portfolio management. And there's going to be much more of an emphasis as scaled agile evolves into that connection between operational and development value streams. Operational value streams have been around for some time through business architecture and enterprise architecture, so that shouldn't be difficult if those are areas that as an organization you want to get into, because that's how you establish the connection between the lean portfolio management and the business. And then the third is it's about PI planning, and in fact, program increment planning it's now PI planning, because really it's about that increment. What value are we delivering during that increment as an entire organization that is represented by teams within the Agile Release Trains within SAFe. Finally, I think in our case, OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management relies on Power BI. Now, Power BI is a leading BI platform. I think it's definitely a differentiator, because it gives an organization the ability to exploit all of the data that we're capturing within OnePlan, and through the reports and dashboards that we provide, as well as the ones that you could be creating, you could measure basically anything that is coming into OnePlan from any of the agile planning tools. So when you see OnePlan at the top, is really the best of breed portfolio management capabilities, the ability to bring in backlog data into our work plan, the financial and resource management tracking, and then finally the reporting. That's what makes OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management more compelling. I put this here because we are targeting Gartner capabilities for Agile planning tools. And as you can appreciate, we're really focused on the portfolio side and in being able to scale to the enterprise, and obviously being able to reflect SAFe. So that's kind of our goals in terms of the product, where we want to take it. We will integrate team planning tools, and we prominently display Azure DevOps boards. It's our preferential tool, but obviously everyone has also Jira. So we also have a strong focus on the Jira connector. So consider OnePlan, even though we're not ranked, we intend at some point to be ranked, and we're focusing on the Gartner capabilities in order to develop our product. So real quickly, in terms of the solution, in case you haven't seen it, we have a portfolio, OnePlan portfolio, which is where everything really starts. It's the landing page for OnePlan. You have grids, boards, and roadmaps. I'll show that in a second. But from a lean portfolio management and PI planning, that's where you're going to be focusing. There is an area for OKRs that will show that you can access through the OnePlan portfolio. At any level in a planning hierarchy, and I'll be showing a solution that reflects the Scale Agile planning hierarchy, you're going to be able to develop resource plans. So in this case, it would be resource plans for epics and financial plans. Similarly, financial plans at any level. In today's demo, we're not going to focus so much on the financial plan, but you can actually get to that within OnePlan. The work plan can bring in the backlog from the Agile planning tool, and if you happen to have any waterfall projects as in an adaptive mode, you can create that from any work management tool and bring it into OnePlan. The solution has a status reporting feature, but also, as I said earlier, it relies on Power BI to create reports. What we're trying to do very simply is to connect through the entire enterprise, top down, from your OKRs to your lean portfolio, up to delivery, where your teams are working and everything being reflected in that PI increment and that PI planning, where you define what you're going to deliver your customer on that incremental basis. So just to focus on the solution specifically, Agile Portfolio Management has been created again from the OnePlan feature set to address Scale Agile, and this solution is for lean portfolio management. So we're following the Scale Agile lean portfolio management framework, and you can see that's how we're addressing the capabilities. There's 3 specific areas, as I said, that we want to focus on. So the first is OKRs. So here it's about defining objectives and key results, making the rest of the organization accountable. You could do multiple levels. In the example that we're going to show today, it's only 1 level, but you could get to an enterprise OKR hierarchy. And it's really about association between the key results. In this case, the key results and epics, although really it can accommodate any alignment framework that you want to use in terms of being able to connect objectives to epics, or key result to epics, or even to features. Some customers are actually defining the KRs and aligning them, associating them to features. So it's really flexible in the way that you're viewing how you implement OKRs. And in the end, what we want is to give you the ability to track and measure attainment of the outcome. So we'll go through that in the solution. The second and third parts is really moving to the lean portfolio management side. Again, your portfolio is really value streams, and you're investing into the portfolio and in capabilities or epics, depending on how you have your planning hierarchy defined, and then seeing the results of those experiments, if we're talking about MVPs or epics that are longer term in terms of the value and how it's spread over the PIs. And the third level is the PIs itself, and there it's a exercise in seeing when things are going to be delivered, the value they're delivering, and whether you're going to continue delivering over program increments. So from a solution standpoint, those are the three areas that we want to focus on. So I want to make a point about our solution for the Microsoft Cloud. So we are a gold certified partner in project portfolio management. We are a partner of the year winner and partner of the year finalist over the last couple of years. At this point, we are the only Microsoft PPM partner with that those awards that is focusing on having a portfolio management solution for adaptive and agile, and it's also the solution that integrates with all the capabilities that Microsoft provides from a work management standpoint. Now, there's other solutions out there, but as a partner, we provide the greatest flexibility to deliver on this promise of using the Microsoft clouds with a portfolio management solution. And there's three distinct reasons, which I'll get to in a second. But one of them is actually that we have an integration platform that allows you to bring any data from any other system. So that's one of the driving forces behind modern portfolio management, having the ability. It doesn't matter where it's being done. It doesn't matter what data set. If you need it as part of your decision making framework, it needs to be integrated into portfolio management. And OnePlan has that out of the box natively. So there's no additional investments in third-party platforms or developments that need to be made. So with that, if you are an organization that is heavily invested in Microsoft, does all of your work in Teams, is using Planner and Project, and the new project for the web, why should you consider OnePlan for portfolio management? Well, first of all, it's purpose-built, and it's a SaaS solution in Azure. It's not just a single app source app for ideation or a Power App framework development within a Power App, widget technology. This is a SaaS solution in Azure, purpose-built for portfolio management. So you're going to be receiving here best of breed capabilities without having to, create a hodgepodge or depend on, a heavy Power Apps development effort by a partner. You can deploy it very flexibly depending on how you're currently using the Microsoft clouds. What that means is, as I'm going to show, you can just hook it up to your teams, and have project teams, Scrum teams actually working with OnePlan. If you have made the investment to Power Apps and integrates directly with Power Apps, and again, we're aiming for lowest level of investment from a Power App standpoint. So OnePlan can actually deliver that. There's some recent changes in the way that Microsoft will deploy Power Apps and Project that will qualify OnePlan as the choice partner for that solution for portfolio management and Power Apps. If you're moving to project operations, which is launched and coming strong, again, we complement what's within project operations and could deliver the adaptive or agile solution that you're looking for. Obviously, Azure DevOps, we already integrate into it, and if you wanted to use it directly with it, the solution already does that out of the box. And lastly, if you just want to use OnePlan through its native web experience, you will authenticate with your Azure AD, and you can do that, outside of any of the experiences. Really, here it's avoiding monoliths for PPM. They've been around for a while, and then finally, avoiding lock-in. So if you go into a Power App solution, with a partner that's doing controls and other gadgets, widgets within Power Apps, there is risk going in that area. The last part is integrating all the work that impacts business outcomes, and that's really the goal for modern portfolio management. So in our case, bring your work management experience, depending on what tool you're using. So we, it obviously we favor the Microsoft clouds, but if there's any other tools outside, you want to avoid disconnected work management data. So bring it all within OnePlan and the Microsoft clouds. So let's go back to our solution. I want to just one point on transformation. We're talking here about an agile portfolio management solution. However, it's a change management initiative, and you really need to plan it out really well. You need to understand your current state and where you want to go and how far you can go based on your organizational state. So our advisory practice starts with what we call a business strategy workshop or agile portfolio management workshop in this case, and we'll map out exactly what we need to do on a phased approach, very much like PI planning, in order to drive that change and deliver value on that incremental basis. So here we're using the tool to lead transformation, but we cannot neglect that this is a change management initiative, and you need to have that business strategy conversation. All right, let's get to our demonstration in a slides. Okay, so I'm going to start with OnePlan within Teams. I also have it outside within a browser, but I will start within Teams just to make the point that we can integrate directly within Teams. Just a quick overview of the solution. One of the new features that we have are called areas, and basically you can isolate any part of the planning hierarchy and features and data sets using areas. So in this case, I'm showing strategic themes, which is the area that I'm on. In a second, I'll jump to ideas just so you see how we can collect ideas within OnePlan. Just continuing down, I'll move down to portfolios, which is really, like I said, the main landing page. We have added a team room for any team that might be planning a specific set of features or looking at the data that's coming in from your team planning, agile planning tool. Program planning, resource plans, scheduler, status. Here's a couple of other ones, program increments for PIs, and then we have the teams, and we have plans and resource center. This is all flexible. In other words, this is just one rendering of what it could be. We can change it depending on your own interpretation, how you have adapted SAFe based on your own local context. So it's just an example, and I'll show a few of these as we go along. But top down within OKRs, I said one of the 3 areas that we want to focus on is really the ability to develop this objective and key result hierarchy. And we're showing one level here. If we needed to show a couple levels so that organizational or enterprise OKRs we're showing, they can also be done. But in this case, for the purpose of our demonstration, we're going to focus, think of this as the business unit. These are my OKRs for my business unit. So at every level, I can actually have, I'll just do quick at it so we can show the status of my strategic theme, priority. So any kind of tracking that you want to do, we can see the key results that are associated with it, which you can see also in the hierarchy. So every one of these has a form, and in terms of views, I can create multiple views. In this case, I'm only showing my objective overview. I'll go ahead and expand these so you can see that it's you know, you can have your entire hierarchy shown. The fields that I'm showing in this view are my state, my status, business unit, who the lead are, so very important in terms of who's accountable for it, my target date, and the current metric that's being driven by the key results that are underneath. Some interesting capabilities, and this goes for any of the views that we provide in OnePlan. Here I've gone through and say, okay, are they evenly spread within the organization? So I have 2 being delivered by IT, 2 by product development, and 3 by marketing in terms of objectives. It looks fairly balanced. So I'm going to go here and do none. And then let's see in terms of key results, who's actually having key results by parts of the organization. And it's a slightly different picture because we can see that, well, marketing has a huge amount of key results that they've defined for the objectives. So, interesting how they're going to actually translate these to initiatives or epics. We can see that product development follows, and then IT, it looks a little lean in terms of how we're actually delivering value. So we might want to reinforce in terms of the key results that IT is delivering. If we go to the board and do the same thing, so here I'll go ahead and do a count. So looks pretty evenly spread by OKR. Here we have, usually you want 3, so here we might be looking to expand and have an additional OKR for increasing our brand awareness and launch a new customer community. Again, I can, by lane, look at the business unit and see the same analysis we saw before. So IT, I'm looking here at key results. If I wanted to actually see, okay, let me go and get more of a landscape. I can see again that marketing is picking up a lot of our, has a heavier weight in terms of the delivery of our strategies versus, IT and product development. So might be an action we might need to take there. So really the benefit is that we can from here move to dashboarding that would give us the ability to see how we're doing. And let me go ahead and sign in here just so that we can look at a content pack that's specifically for our OKRs. So we have our objectives portfolio, and again, more of visuals of how we're doing in terms of progress for those specific objectives. So we can see here that increase our brand awareness is the one that's not doing as well as we should in terms of our progress, and launching new products successfully is also not doing well, transforming our corporate culture. So these are things that we need to focus on from an investment level as we go down our planning hierarchy into our lean portfolio management. But you can see that we have other reports, and again, that's a benefit of leveraging Power BI. So any of the data that we're tracking, you can actually exploit using Power BI. And again, this is just a sample content pack that we have, the ability to adjust and make changes to these is available from OnePlan. Here we're at the specific objective status, and now we're seeing, the key results. What is actually impacting getting us to our status based on how we have defined how we're going to get to the objective. And in terms of objective progress, we were measuring that, through our key results, and you can see here that, again, we can try to get to the problem areas where we might want to see exactly what's happening. In terms of our business units, interesting that we can actually get to, who's having issues, and marketing has a heavy weight. So again, we might want to look at how we are investing into our marketing epics to see if we can enhance the the heavier weight that they have on key results. Here's the entire set of key results portfolio. And I'll go ahead, and I'm really interested in seeing how marketing is doing since they're carrying a lot of the weight. And we can see that, there are some active key results that are not doing so well. So I'll take those insights into our next level when we talk about our ideas and our epics. So I'll go back to OnePlan here, and let me just quickly go through ideas just so that you can see. We could be collecting these in any other general placeholder. Here they're actually now part of OnePlan, and you can actually then do more analysis and then define whether they need to be converted into any initiative within our planning hierarchy. So again, it's an area that is defined just for ideas, and we could be looking at, within the life cycle of the idea, what do we need to do? In this case, we have needs reviewed, and then new ones. And they each have, again, their own specific details page in terms of being able to have a prioritization, a score, WSJF if you wanted to do that early on. And, I can focus on the business unit and, see which, here's some new IT ideas that have been created. And, IT had a lightweight in terms of key results. So maybe I do want to take one of these, and what I will do is I can reorganize, which means I will convert to perhaps an epic or a feature within our planning hierarchy. And here you can then define within your lean portfolio management, planning hierarchy, where I'm going to put it, whether it's going to be within, I could create a new epic within one of my value streams. These are my portfolios, which I'll show in a second. So, another real valuable capability with OnePlan as well. I really need more information to do this. So how many of these are actually hitting the business, or are they driven more by architecture? It could be planning horizons also. So I'm going to go here and insert my value area, and then focus on that. And I will, instead of process step, I'll go ahead and also change it to group by value area, just to see how that comes out. And we can see that we have a lot of focus on the business. So we have some IT initiatives that are being supported for the business. So maybe these are the ones that I need to that I want to drive. Also, here's some marketing additional initiatives that I want to drive. We have a WSJF score, so I could be ranking them in order to see which ones I want to address, again by reorganizing them into one of my portfolios. So very simple way of capturing ideas. They could have come, in fact, in this particular configuration, we actually have an ideas portal that is actually feeding ideas within OnePlan, and at this point now they can be reorganized or converted into parts of our portfolio. So I'm going to move down a portfolio. So I've gone through, defined some OKRs. Now I have some ideas I could be impacting our value delivery, how I'm going to hit my key results. So here, this is a simpler configuration that we would normally show just to highlight some of the new capabilities. And the first thing within my list, I'm here just going to start with my portfolio alignment. And I'm going to open this up just to make the point that, well, in this model, what we're doing is focusing on epics and how they impact the key results. So I said earlier, you could actually define your key results to be associated with features. In this case, it's about epics. So here you can see that I have generate new unique leads via account-based marketing. See the marketing initiatives, and we said earlier we might want to focus on them in order to to address how we're going to do that. By the way, our planning hierarchy, just to highlight, we have actually reflected the entire lean, everything that's required basically for lean portfolio management. So we have value streams. We didn't do capabilities, we did epics. So for value streams, we're doing epics, feature stories. We did our milestones and events, which we'll use later when we're doing our PI planning. The other kind of new capability that we've added are these what are called pre-filters, which allow us to focus on a specific part of the hierarchy and data set. So here I've selected all of them, but you can see that I'm focusing on all of my portfolios and all of my program increments and all of my arts and all of my teams, because I want to see everything that's actually being done. I will select just one of the important ones as we move on. The other highlight I'd like to make that this is connected to Azure DevOps, or some of these are connected to Azure DevOps as a planning tool, also to Jira, which means that source data is coming from Azure DevOps and Jira. And in this case, we are actually connecting the entire hierarchy. So it doesn't have to be this way, but in this case, we decided to configure epic features and stories. So epic features and stories that are being created in Azure DevOps are actually coming into OnePlan. There's some process definition there, and you can control whether you actually bring these in or whether you can actually define epics, like in this case, and then connect it to Azure DevOps for it to be further broken down into features. But to continue with our narrative here, let's focus on these two epics. Two of them are new. We can see that they're new and they don't have an epic budget. We do have the value stream and quote to cash that still has some remaining budget. So here on inception, we could say, we could bring in an additional WSGIF. I'll do that in a second, but just for now, I'm going to go ahead and add some budget. Well, let me take one out so we can get to some to total value. So we do have still some remaining. Just for now, I'm going to put a placeholder of 500,000. I can have the teams and break those down into features and stories if I wanted to. I do have my art here, so it is a transaction art that's actually working on this, cloud and mobile first. They will be picking this up and then breaking it down further. And with this, I can move on to another view that I can do my portfolio summary from here. So here I can see, okay, these are the value streams, how they are summarizing, and you can see that now I have more of my remaining budget showing. By the way, our associated strategic theme is also showing here. I'll move that over so we can see it. And it's really about this. This portfolio is about growing our corporate global business, and we can see that we have the portfolio showing with the value streams. So again, that alignment, top-down alignment, in terms of being able to connect everything that we're doing to our OKRs that I've defined at the top. So I'm gonna do one more thing here, and let's do some epic prioritization now that I've defined some value. So I have here my list of epics and their current state. We have here, some of them do not have a WSGIF value. We do have risk impact and the epic budgets that I just defined. So the idea is that, again, if you don't have these, you can have the teams define them and get to a point where we can stack rank and then decide, which has higher weight in terms of WSGIF. So in this case, test DevOps on cloud, I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and move it one level higher than hybrid cloud infrastructure. This is obviously something that IT is doing. Public cloud vendor subscription, it's slightly lower. I could pick one of the ones that we just defined that just received and say, this has actually, a medium risk impact. This is a low risk impact. These are just notifications. It's kind of a table stakes. So let's go ahead and move that up. So you could be doing, again, I'm not going to move it up above one that has a Wisher value, but again, it's a low risk. We just defined it as, requiring it to be done. We just put a budget. So I'm going to go move it there so that the team can focus on, above the line, the top 10 epics that we're actually focusing on. So I'll go ahead and take that off. And so that's, very quick exercise in terms of, the portfolios and the epics. And you can go through and do analysis on them. By the way, you can see here that the hierarchy is showing. So if you wanted to actually see what makes up that feature and even get to the story, because we will do this in PI planning shortly, we need to have the story there. I'm going to move now to my boards, and the first thing I want to show is my Portfolio Kanban. So here's my Portfolio Kanban. I have selected every portfolio. I'll in a second filter it, but here I have every portfolio. I have my process steps within my Portfolio Kanban, and you can see that I have my WIP limits, my counters that are showing my WIP limits. Within the cards, there's some data that we're actually showing in terms of benefits, budget, and the Wisher values that we've calculated. If I want one quick way that I like this, I can go ahead and focus on which are the arts that are actually doing this. So now I can get a perspective of how all of the different arts are contributing here. My transactions, customer sat, and procurement. And if I wanted to just get a quick perspective of my contribution, I can see that the procurement art is, just has a couple of epics. So we might want to look at exactly what's going on there: vendor management and online tracking of shipments. This one is way off. Oh, it's already in backlog. This one is in the funnel. Let's see what's in here. And we can go to quick edit and then look and see at what are the features that are being delivered. So delivery confirmation and delivery options. I could drill down into it directly here, but it is in funnel stage. So I could be looking to see if I want to move it into review, since I want to accelerate those two features into our solution. So within funnel now, you can see that we reduce one, and now we move it to review. You can be managing again the stages of your epics as you're defining exit criteria for every one of these within your Portfolio Kanban. As we move to backlog and implementing, here's where they go to the teams. And again, this is focusing on what I'll call top-down epics that are receiving significant investment and are really moving the needle for our OKRs. So from here, I'll go ahead and switch to PI planning. So now I'm going to try to determine when these are going to be delivered. And let me take the art off so we can just get a perspective of. So we have our, from a lean portfolio Kanban, now we're going to our program increment planning, PI planning. So we have our PIs listed here, and it's telling me exactly when we're going to deliver. So the shopping cart is way off into the future. We might want to actually deliver that earlier. Exactly, how can we do that? Let me go into the details real quick. And you can see here that my metadata is showing, but I'm more interested in, here's the epic budget that we define. What are the features that are actually make up that that epic? And these are some of the new ones that are in, and we have the BITE team that's actually doing them. So again, again, I can drill down to see exactly, what is it going to take, and do I actually need to move any of those features? If I'm in that, from that perspective, then, what exactly is Byte doing? So I could come and say, okay, you know what? I really just want to look at what is actually Byte doing, and we can see that, they should be able to deliver because we have them only working on payments and shopping cart. So here I've, kind of isolated, so maybe I can, send a notification in order to accelerate to, and I can take that and, act on it to see if the lead can actually, or RTE can actually do something in terms of being able to move it. If we do actually within PI planning get it to move, we can actually do that within our PI planning exercise. So that would be another action that you can take. So if we go to a lower level, let's go now to our program board. And I'll go ahead and get everybody involved because now we want to see everything that we have to deliver. And I'll start with only my features and my milestones so we can see what we're actually delivering. And I've actually put in the lane my arts. So the reason for having the pre-filters is actually then, to be able to, like I did previously, to isolate, because this can get quite busy if we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of cards across all of the teams that would be working. And, you can get a perspective of what that looks like here. And again, we're looking now at features. So these are the features, and these are our PIs. So PI4, we can see that we have our counters, and we have our dependencies, our otherwise known as ret strings. We do have milestones and events. So the online store launch is actually occurring within PI6. It's way in the future, but it is dependent on, some things that are being done within 5, within our PI5 sprint 2. Now, I could go further and say, well, this one here, our purchase capability has, a number of user stories. So can we actually move some of those up? So I'm going to go ahead and also add user stories here to see if I'll go ahead and quick edit. I want to add items to my shopping cart. Okay. So are any of these? So this could be a risk because we have our PI 6 SP4 sprint 4, and we have a story that's going to go at the same time. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and move it here just to give ourselves some buffer so that we can make our completion of our epic, our purchase epic. I'm sorry, feature. This is our feature, epic, our feature. So we've gone through and sequenced in order to get to our outcome. And from here you can see that we have other capabilities. There is no limit in terms of the views that you can create. So from that standpoint, this is that third level that I said we were focusing on, which is really enabling PI planning. If we wanted to get to some of the other capabilities, I'll go and just talk about increments where we define them. But not only that, you can see that here we have our releases on our sprint. So if we wanted to, put in our releases, we can actually do that. And from a PI planning standpoint, we've also incorporated, this is actually our team room when, the team can actually see what it's actually working on. And, this is only our blueprint team that's working within the team area. So teams can have their own area to focus on, specific items within a program increment. So, just give me the ones for my current, what are we really on the hook for this PI. And you can see the same, data that your leadership team is seeing. And then from a program planning basis, PI objectives, retrospectives, and risk are really important. So here is where we would define our PV and AV and our predictability index. Being able to do retrospectives is also available, and we can select, specific teams that are going to be doing that. And then finally, any risks that we want to focus on in order to do our Rome board. So this is our placeholder within the solution for doing Rome. And I'll go ahead and take retro out. And again, we're focusing on a form that would reflect everything that you would have on a Rome board. And this can then be translated to a specific Power BI report for Rome. I haven't focused on resource planning and financial planning as part of this demonstration, but we do have those capabilities here. So if you're interested in that, we can address that in one-on-one demonstrations or in future demos. I'll go back to my portfolio view and go back to my portfolio summary just to show you that. So I want to close by going to our reporting. And as I said earlier, everything is within a reporting database that allows you to exploit all the data set that we have. Actually, let me go here because I have a dashboard that we created specifically for this that looks quite interesting in terms of bringing all the data together. Again, it's the same concept. It's just that we can actually embed it directly within OnePlan. So here we have something that can just give you a very, very quick perspective on how you're doing ideas by state. I showed you the ideas. Again, this is a Power BI report. Budget by value stream. So you can see quote to cash that we added an additional to Epics is now the most important value stream that we have, followed by the other value stream. Our PI capacity in terms of effort, we can see here that we're really focusing on this upcoming PI5 in order to drive value, and we have some, as we showed, we're actually focusing on that store delivery and start at PI6, and we're going to need more resources because here you can see our capacity is now constrained because of everything that we're doing in the future PIs. Predictability indexes coming from our planning areas for our AB and BB. How are we doing with our objectives? This is the OKR component. How are we spending across our objectives? So growing corporate global business appears to be the one that's most highly associated with the epics that we have. And likewise, has the greatest amount of story points from everything that's rolling up from our features, stories and features. And in terms of where the percentage contribution, makes sense based on, how we've laid out our investment. All of the burn down and burn up charts, you can do in terms of what you're actually doing. And again, this data would come directly from your Agile planning tool. So, real quick way of gathering all the information, being able to render it within dashboards. And likewise, I was going to take you to our other contact packs that I've shown before, where you can, extract the data and do very, very specific dashboards, whether it's on cost or, your Epic one pager that gives you the status of what's going on within the Epic in this case. Okay, that concludes our part of the demo. 1 second while I change my screen. So some takeaways from today's presentation. We wanted to show OnePlan Agile Portfolio Management and how the solution itself, implementing the solution, can drive the change of people, process, and tools towards that LPM transformation, lean portfolio management transformation. You want to evolve in a step-like approach using the 3 levels that we talked about: OKRs, the lean portfolio management, Kanban, and then PI planning, where you're bringing your teams in their respective arts to the delivery value to the customer in the epics that you've defined in your lean portfolio management. OnePlan for Agile Portfolio Management, we consider this a solution that can drive your business agility transformation. So are you purpose driven, and can you change on a dime? Look at our digital market premium that we calculated, and the difference in an organization that can be driven by digital and change quickly. And your current portfolio management approach, whatever you're doing, can be modified in order to get to lean portfolio management. There's some essential practices that you have to change, and they're critical, but you can evolve into it, depending on what you're currently doing, in order to get to the definition of value through epics, the flow of value through the portfolio Kanban, and then the decomposition of those into the teams that are actually, creating the value for the customer in terms of the delivery of the product or the service that they're managing. Those are our takeaways. We want to thank you for participating and giving us your time. This is OnePlan. We're a business agility transformation partner. We address all the core components of change management and business agility, people, process, technology, and we're focused on the Microsoft toolset. I gave you some very compelling reasons why you should consider OnePlan as your portfolio management platform if you're a heavily invested organization in the Microsoft technology. If you haven't seen us before, we have a number of competencies and are a gold partner. Again, over the last 2 years, we've delivered a significant amount of value to enterprises in portfolio management, and that's where we've been recognized as the partner of the year and part of the year finalist for Microsoft PPM. Our service set is broad. We're talking here about solution implementation services, but our advisory services are just as important, and that also includes education and training and customer success and support. It all starts with a conversation, the business agility and the business strategy workshop, and then defined by a solution that's going to be implemented within your organization. Our record speaks for itself in terms of customer success stories. If you're interested in any one of these, please make contact and we can talk how we have delivered value in portfolio management to these enterprises. The solution that you saw is available within our Visual Studio Marketplace. We're going to be updating it right now. It's our older version that we released in February. So look for that within this week or next, where we're actually going to be updating it for Agile Portfolio Management for SAFe. And then if you're interested in any of our other solutions within AppSource, you can go and do a free trial. So don't hesitate to. It is a free trial, and can lead some interesting conversations how you can implement the capabilities that we've shown. So please make contact. Look for our OnePlan trial if you're interested in having a discussion of how the solution can fit your organization based on your current state. Please, we leave our contact information in my emailer. Please communicate with us. And thank you very much for your time. Look forward to seeing you in our next webinar.